Moscow is finally resorting to its nuclear options. Tactical warheads are being moved to Belarus. Who are these weapons for? Ukraine. That's a no-brainer. But there could be more targets. Look at the map. Belarus shares a border with 3 NATO members: Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. So these countries too can be potential targets. What kind of warheads are these? Tactical warheads. They are small in size and they are used for a limited strike. So they won't be able to destroy big cities, but they can obliterate small areas. That's their purpose. Russia says the war in Ukraine has turned into a proxy battle and the West wants to extend the conflict by arming the Ukrainian forces. That's the allegation by Russia. So the nukes are deterrents, a way for Russia to take control and perhaps influence the outcome of this war.
We do turn now to the war in Ukraine as we learn more about the latest U.S. aid package. Officials tell ABC News that it includes depleted uranium shells. ABC's Britt Clenna joins us from Kyiv with more on what we're learning and more on what this all could mean. Britt, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. Yeah, the next U.S. aid package for Ukraine could, for the first time, include depleted uranium rounds for Abrams tanks and other fighting vehicles. Officials told ABC News this could be announced as early as next week. Depleted uranium, it's useful for penetrating advanced armour and it could help Ukraine take out Russian tanks. But it's really controversial. You know, critics say there could be serious health risks when inhaling it, like cancer and birth defects. Ukrainian troops do appear to be making notable progress against heavily fortified positions in the south. That's according to White House spokesperson John Kirby.
My friends, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared Podcast, where here we talk about people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, the one and only Austin Creed, and my friends, the Ukraine war is reaching an all-time low. I can barely believe what I'm looking at here. Did you ever think in a time you would ever see the Cold War come back? You would ever see people just lying dead on the field of battle that we would talk about? People told me the Cold War ended. People told me that Reagan said, tear down this wall, and the Cold War was coming to an end and that the world was moving towards peace. Well, my friends, I'm here to tell you that we are far away from peace. In fact, I want to show you this article that I saw earlier today. It says the U.S. is to send controversial depleted uranium munitions to Ukraine. Okay, for those of you who don't know why this is significant, I'm more than happy to explain it to you. Uranium is extremely toxic to the human being. I worked with nuclear weapons when I was in the military. I learned about uranium, I learned about plutonium, I learned about all this kind of stuff and how it affects both humans and how it affects weapons, the environment, all of it, which I'll bring up throughout the show. But not only are we sending them $1 billion, which, my friends, don't you think that this $1 billion should be going to the people who, pay the tax money? Don't you think they should be going to our poor? Don't you think that COVID hurt us enough with inflating our currency by handing out free money to everybody? Why are we handing out free money, and why are we fighting a proxy war? We are bankrupt, and yet here we are sending out money. But not only that, we're sending out, first it was cluster bombs, now it's uranium munitions, which destroys the environment. It is extremely inhumane. And yet, the military-industrial complex just says, oh yeah, go get those nasty Ruskies. Yeah, we don't want them here. They're garbage. Yeah, go get those Russians. Just look at it. Let's look at what it says. It says the announcement coincides with top U.S. diplomat Anthony Blinken. Oh, Blinken. Oh, what a nightmare he is. His visit to Kyiv. I call it Kiev. Has always been Kiev. In a gesture of support as the Ukraine counteroffensive against occupying Russian troops grinds into its 4th month with only small gains. My friends, this is a classic example of propaganda. You look at the propaganda being put out by the U.S. government and by the Ukrainian government, they'd have you thinking that Russia's on the run, we're going to win, we're going to destroy Russia. No, we're not. Did you not pay attention to the first video I showed? They are moving their nukes to their border, the TACs. The TACs are the least of our problems. They have ICBMs that are beginning to target different cities, and they're practicing targeting their ICBMs. My friends, this is no laughing matter. And if you think it's not going to happen, you're a fool. A cornered animal is extremely dangerous. And yet people seem to think, oh yeah, go get those dang nasty Russians, man. Yeah, Putin evil. Putin evil. We want him gone. We don't want him here. There's always consequences. I'm not saying he's a good, upstanding man. I don't believe him to be that way whatsoever. But my friends, can we afford spending $1 billion to support Ukraine? First of all, shame on Zelensky. He's one of the biggest warmongers of our time. I feel for the Ukrainian people, but Zelensky is a fraud. He's a disgrace. All the while he talks about how, ooh, I'm a Jew. And he gives all of us Jews a bad name. And he's providing a huge wave of anti-Semitism. Thanks, Vladimir. I appreciate it. Thanks, Vlad. I appreciate it. A nice wave of anti-Semitism going on thanks to this bum in Ukraine. On top of the fact that he's destroying his own country. And we're helping him do it by giving them cluster bombs and uranium depleted, munitions. My friends, I want to show you this. Here's what this does. Here's what uranium does to people. You ready for this? Uranium is a heavy metal and radioactive substance that can cause short-term and long-term health effects. Uranium can damage the kidneys, the liver, and the blood cells that can cause kidney failure and death. Uranium can also cause lung cancer and reproductive damage. Let's look at this. What is it? What do these munitions do? How do they infect the environment? Let's put humans aside. Let's talk about the environment. When ammunition made from depleted uranium strikes a target, the uranium turns into dust, keyword, airborne particles, that are inhaled by soldiers near the explosion site. The wind then carries that dust to surrounding areas, polluting the local water and agriculture. My friends, you hear that? Ukraine used to be known as the breadbasket of Europe. Now it's going to be a death zone, a dead zone in the world. The contaminated water, everything's burned to the ground. If you don't know, and you haven't been paying attention, we are going to be going into a huge famine in the world. And not that long from now. You can call me a liar if you wish. To do so would be foolish. But my friends, we're going into a huge famine that's right around the corner. You think that all this wheat that's going to waste, all this agriculture that's going to waste in Ukraine is just not going to affect people? Oh, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect supply lines. It affected Russia's dealing with India. Rice shortage. You heard about that? Or you didn't hear about that? Probably because you were too busy checking out Kim Kardashian or going to a concert of Taylor Swift. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ukraine war is reaching, and it just keeps going lower. The minute I think that it's I've seen it all, it's been horrible, but it can't go any lower, I'm proven wrong. Almost every single time I'm proven wrong that it can't get any worse and it can't go any lower than this. The military-industrial complex is running the country, is running the economy, is running the world right now. NATO's arming up. A lot of countries that have not been investing in their military, like Germany, they're arming up. Because they know what's around the corner. They know that World War III is very much on the horizon. And if they don't do anything about it, they're gonna get wrecked just like everybody else in Europe, especially. This isn't World War II anymore. We have nuclear ICBMs, nuclear bombs. They have TACs. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what we have because I'm not going to go to jail for that. There's some things that I can't disclose for legal reasons. But my friends, look. We need to address the elephant in the room. And that is the fact that the Ukraine war has gone too far. Originally, I wanted to support it. I still feel for the Ukrainian people who have been displaced and will probably never go home. Never. But Zelensky is a fraud. He makes me sick. On top of the fact that he is causing a wave of anti-Semitism, he's also bagging on Israel and bagging on every country who won't give him what he wants, like a child throwing a tantrum. You won't give me the weapons I want. You won't treat my people the way that I want you to treat them, and just take in everybody. Like he did to Israel, that bum. You hear what he did in Israel? Oh, you missed that, huh? He criticizes Israel for, quote, mistreating his people when they weren't mistreating them. They were just going through regular immigration standards, according to what I read. My friends, it gets worse by the day. Where are the peace talks? Where is the demand for diplomacy? Where are all the anti-war protesters now that we need them? Answer, they were never anti-war, they were simply anti-Republican. They were never anti-war, they're just anti-Republican. It just gets so bad. I don't know how people deal with it. Are people so drugged that they don't even see what's happening to their country, to the world? Are people just so high or so drunk that they just don't see what's going on? Or they just don't care? Are we watching so much TV on Netflix and Hulu and everywhere else that we just don't care what's going on in the world anymore? Those of you who don't know, about 25%, out of all the people who are eligible for the draft, the United States, about 25% would actually make the cut physically standard-wise. And that's not even taking into account mental health and all that kind of stuff. It's horrific, the numbers that we have. And yet we're acting like this is before World War II, and like your grandfather, your great-grandfather, the greatest generation. Generation X, millennials, the Gen Zers like me, Gen Alpha, they're not like the greatest generation. In World War II, every man defeated Superman. Now the every man can't even get on a treadmill. Can't even stop eating this putrid garbage in his body to stop being fat. My friends, I want the world to be a better place, and this war has gone off the rails, and we are fighting a proxy war in Ukraine. Anybody who actually sees reality instead of seeing just the propaganda being put out by the US government and Ukrainian government and the Russian government, if you put aside the propaganda, we are fighting a proxy war. The West is NATO is fighting a proxy war against Russia, like it's the Cold War all over again. Except now it's more heated, with actual warfare going on. It's like Vietnam, all these other wars. It's happening all over again. And yet, where is the outcry for, hey, we need diplomacy. Hey, we need to stop this. We need to stop this insanity. We need to bring people to the table and work this out before the whole world implodes. Nowhere. Nobody. They're just like, yeah, go get those Russians. Yeah, we'll spend $1 billion on bullets and bombs to go help those Ukrainians kill those Russians. It's unbelievable to me. I'm calling on the government to bring about. I want peace talks. I want you to say we're not sending detonators. We're sending diplomats. We're gonna fix this. And if you don't want to fix it, then we're going to bring the full weight of NATO. We're going to bring the full weight of the United States and all of its influence against you. Because we want this settled, because we won't be dragged into World War III. Where is that conversation? It should be happening. My friends, please be praying for the situation as I am. It weighs on my soul to see this happening in my time that I never thought I would see. I really want the war to be over and done with, so we don't go down into a further rabbit hole, and eventually we can't go back. It's over. World War III has already happened, and it's a done deal. I hope that day does not come. My hope doesn't do anything. We need actual people in power to make competent, long-thinking decisions. My friends, I invite you to let your voice be heard on this very touching topic, you can head over to my Twitter page at Sheep Get Sheared, or you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, wherever it is, any social media outlet you have, pretty much, you'll find me at Sheep Get Sheared. My friends, God bless you. God bless your family, and God bless America. I hope and I pray, and it is my vision that this war ends and that peace once again is restored so that we can once again have a Pax Romana across the earth, because peace is patriotic. Have a great evening.